compounds, and small shops opened their rusty doors to begin another ordinary day. For most people in Kijani, life had always been the same. But for Amara, every morning felt like a reminder that she didn't belong. Amara was 16 years old, quiet, and always watching the world carefully. While other students laughed loudly on their way to school, Amara usually walked alone, holding her old school bag tightly against her chest. Her uniform was clean but worn. The sleeves had been sewn twice by her grandmother. Some students whispered when she passed, "That's the girl who lives in the small house near the river," one of them murmured. "The poor one," another replied. Amara pretended not to hear them. She had learned a long time ago that people in Kijani loved to talk about things they didn't understand. Her home was small, built from faded bricks and a rusted iron roof. She lived with her grandmother, Mama Nima, who had raised her since she was 5 years old. No one in the village ever spoke much about Amara's parents. Whenever she asked about them, Mama Nima would simply say, "Some stories reveal themselves when the time is right." So Amara stopped asking, but the questions never truly left her mind. That morning, Amara arrived at Kijani Secondary School just as the bell rang. Students rushed through the gate, laughing and pushing each other. Inside the classroom, the noise was loud until their teacher, Mr. Kamau, walked in with a pile of papers. "Quiet," he said firmly. The class fell silent. "Today we will announce the results of the Young Innovators competition." Everyone immediately sat up straighter. This competition was important. The student with the best idea would represent the school in a national program in the city. Many students had submitted projects, but none of them had worked harder. She had stayed up late every night. She had written every page by hand because she didn't own a computer. Even Mama Nima had stayed awake beside her many nights. "You work harder than most adults," her grandmother once told her. Amara only smiled quietly. She didn't tell anyone about her project, not even her classmates. Especially not Lydia. Lydia was the most popular girl in school. Confident, stylish, and always surrounded by friends. And for some reason, Lydia seemed to enjoy making Amara feel small. Mr. Kamau began reading the results. 3rd place. A boy named Brian stood proudly while the class clapped. 2nd place. Another student walked to the front. Amara felt her heart beating faster. She hadn't expected to win, but a small part of her hoped. Mr. Kamau adjusted his glasses and looked down at the paper again, and the winner of the Young Innovators competition. The classroom held its breath. "That is Lydia Mwangi." The room erupted with cheers. Lydia stood up slowly, smiling confidently as she walked to the front. Amara froze. Her hands slowly tightened around the edge of her desk, because the title of Lydia's project sounded familiar, very familiar. Mr. Kamau continued speaking proudly. Lydia designed a creative solution for food storage for farmers, showing impressive research and planning. Amara's chest felt tight. That was her idea. Every detail, every page, even the title. Her mind raced. How could this be possible? She had never shown anyone her notebook. Her project had been safely inside her school bag, or at least she thought it had been. Across the room, Lydia briefly looked back at Amara, and for a split second, Lydia smiled. Not a friendly smile, but the kind of smile someone gives when they know a secret. That evening, Amara walked home slowly as the sun disappeared behind usual. When she reached the small house near the river, Mama Nima was sitting outside, sorting beans into a wooden bowl. "You're late today," her grandmother said gently. Amara sat down beside her without speaking. Mama Nima looked at her carefully. "What happened at school?" For a moment Amara stayed silent, then she whispered, "My idea. Someone took it." Mama Nima's hand stopped moving. "Who?" Amara looked down. Lydia. Her grandmother sighed softly, as if this news didn't surprise her. Then she stood up slowly and walked inside the house. A few seconds later she returned holding something old and wrapped in cloth. Amara had never seen it before. Mama Nima placed it carefully on the table between them. "Your mother asked me to give you this one day," she said quietly. Amara stared at the wrapped object. "My mother?" Mama Nima nodded, "But I didn't think the day would come so soon." Amara slowly opened the cloth. Inside was a small wooden box, old, carved with strange symbols. Amara looked up. "What is it?" Mama Nima's eyes were serious. "A secret your mother wanted you to discover." Amara carefully lifted the lid. Inside the box was a single folded paper. She opened it slowly, and the moment she read the first line, her entire world had grown quiet. The only sounds were the distant crickets and the gentle movement of the river behind Amara's small home. But inside the house, Amara's heart was racing. Her hands trembled slightly as she held the letter from the wooden box. The words on the first line echoed in her mind again and again. Amara, if you are reading this, you are not who you think you are. Amara slowly looked up at her grandmother, Mama Nima. What does this mean? Her grandmother didn't answer immediately. Instead, she sat down slowly across from her, her face calm but serious. Read the rest, she said softly. Amara swallowed and continued reading. My dear Amara, if this letter has reached you, it means the truth can no longer stay hidden. You have grown up believing you were just a girl from a small village, but your life was never meant to be ordinary. There are people in this world who would do anything to keep you from discovering who you truly are. That is why I had to hide you. One day you will understand everything. But for now, remember this, trust very few people. And never forget the symbol carved on the box. It will lead you to the truth. Your mother. Amara's mind felt like it was spinning. She slowly placed the letter on the table. What does this mean? She asked again, her voice quieter now. Mama Nima looked at the wooden box carefully. That symbol, Amara said, pointing to the carvings on the lid. Have you seen it before? Her grandmother nodded slowly. Yes. Amara leaned forward. Where? Mama Nima took a deep breath. In the city. Amara blinked in confusion. The city? Yes, her grandmother replied. Your mother came from there. Amara's heart skipped. All her life she had believed her parents were villagers like everyone else in Kijani. But why would someone hide me? Amara asked. Mama Nima's eyes softened. Because sometimes the truth about a person can be very sleep. The letter stayed on her mind like a puzzle she couldn't solve. Her mother had hidden her. There were people who didn't want her to discover the truth. And the symbol on the wooden box was supposed to lead her somewhere. Amara got out of bed quietly and picked up the box again. She traced the carved symbol with her finger. It looked like a circle with a small star inside it. Strange. But somehow it felt important. Just then, she remembered something. Earlier that day, she had seen Lydia wearing something similar, a necklace, with the same shape. Amara's eyes widened. No, that can't be possible. The next morning at school, Amara walked through the gate more carefully than usual. For the first time, she wasn't just thinking about Lydia stealing her idea. Now she was thinking about something bigger, much bigger. Inside the classroom, Lydia was sitting with her group of friends, laughing loudly as usual, and around her neck was the necklace. Amara felt a chill run down her spine. It was the same symbol, the circle, the star, exactly the same. Her mind filled with questions. How could Lydia have it? Was it just a coincidence, or was Lydia somehow connected to the secret her mother had left behind? Amara sat down quietly, trying not to stare, but Lydia noticed. Slowly, Lydia touched the necklace and smiled again, the same strange smile from yesterday. Then Lydia leaned closer to her friend and whispered something. The girls looked at Amara and began laughing. Amara's stomach tightened. Something about this didn't feel normal anymore. Later that afternoon, as students were leaving school, Amara was putting her books into her bag when a voice spoke behind her. You seem very interested in my necklace. Amara turned around quickly. It was Lydia, standing right behind her. Up close, the symbol on the necklace looked even clearer. Amara tried to stay calm. She said quietly. Lydia tilted her head slightly. Familiar? Then Lydia leaned a little closer and lowered her voice. Well, that's interesting. Amara frowned. Why? Lydia's smile slowly returned. Because not many people recognize that symbol. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Lydia straightened up. See you tomorrow, Amara, she said casually before walking away. Amara stood frozen in place. Her heart was beating faster again. How could Lydia know that symbol was rare, and why did she seem so calm about it? That evening, Amara rushed home. Mama Nima. She called as she entered the house. Her grandmother came from the kitchen. What is it? Amara held up the wooden box. I saw the symbol today. Mama Nima's expression changed immediately. Where? At school. Her grandmother frowned. On what? A necklace. Mama Nima's face slowly grew serious. Who was wearing it? Amara hesitated, then she answered, Lydia. For a moment, Mama Nima didn't speak, then she whispered something that made Amara's heart drop. That's impossible. Amara stared at her. Why? Mama Nima looked toward the wooden box again, then she said quietly, because that symbol belongs to a group that disappeared many years ago. Amara felt confused. A group? Her grandmother nodded slowly. A very powerful group. Amara's mind raced, but Lydia is just a student. Mama Nima shook her head. No, child. Her voice dropped to a whisper. If she is wearing that symbol. Then Lydia may not be who she had grown colder. Amara stood frozen in the doorway, her hand still resting on the wooden door as she stared at the stranger standing outside. The tall man didn't move. The faint light from the house fell across his face, revealing sharp features and calm, watchful eyes. He looked like someone who had traveled far, but what caught Amara's attention most was the symbol hanging from his neck, the same symbol carved into the wooden box, the same symbol Lydia had worn earlier that day, a circle, and inside it, a small star. Amara's heart began beating faster. Behind her, Mama Nima stepped forward carefully. Who are you? The old woman asked firmly. The man looked past Amara and met Mama Nima's eyes. For a moment, something like recognition crossed his face, then he spoke calmly. My name is Daniel Cairo. His voice was steady, but there was a seriousness behind it that made the air feel heavy. I'm not here to cause trouble, he continued. I'm here because of her. He nodded slightly toward Amara. Amara swallowed nervously. Mama Nima stepped closer to the door, her body now slightly in front of Amara. You shouldn't have come here, she said quietly. Daniel raised an eyebrow. So you do remember me? Amara look's face hardened. You need to leave, she said firmly. This conversation should not be happening tonight. Daniel sighed quietly, as if he had expected this response. You know the truth cannot stay hidden forever. Amara stared at her grandmother. Her name had rarely been spoken so directly. How do you know my grandmother? Amara asked. Daniel looked at her again, his eyes softer now. As I knew your mother. The world seemed to stop for a moment. Amara's heart skipped. You knew her? She whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. Yes. Mama Nima closed her eyes briefly, clearly frustrated. I told you never to come here again, she said to him. Daniel's voice remained calm, and I respected that. For many years. But things have changed. Amara stepped forward slightly. What do you mean? Daniel looked directly at her now. People are searching for you. Amara felt the air leave her lungs. Why? Daniel hesitated before answering. Because you may be the only person who can unlock something that has been hidden for nearly 20 years. The room went silent. Mama Nima shook her head slowly. No, she said, not yet. Daniel frowned slightly. You know we are running out of time. Amara looked between them again, feeling more confused with every second. Someone please explain what is happening. Mama Nima turned to Amara gently. Child. Some truths are very dangerous. Amara's voice trembled. But you said my mother hid me. And now this man says people are looking for me. She pointed toward the wooden box on table. And this symbol keeps appearing everywhere. Her voice became stronger. I deserve to know the truth. Daniel watched her carefully. Then he said something that made the tension in the room grow even heavier. She's right. Mama Nima slowly turned toward him. No, Daniel's voice became more serious. Nima. Lydia already has the symbol. Amara's eyes widened immediately. You know Lydia? Daniel nodded slowly, pounding again. Yes. What does she have to do with this? Daniel hesitated for a moment, then he spoke quietly. Lydia's family was once part of the same organization your mother belonged to. Amara felt the ground beneath her certainty begin to crack. Organization. Daniel nodded. A powerful group that existed long before you were born. Amara's voice was barely a whisper now. What kind of group? Daniel glanced toward Mama Nima again, as if asking silent permission, but Mama Nima remained silent. Finally Daniel answered. The Astric Circle. He pointed gently toward the wooden box. That symbol is their mark. Amara stared down at the carving again. The Astric Circle was a secret organization made up of powerful thinkers, inventors, and strategists. Daniel continued. They created ideas that could change industries, governments, even the future. Amara blinked. So, like innovators? Daniel nodded. Exactly. But something went wrong. His voice darkened slightly. The group began to break apart. Some members wanted to use their knowledge to help the world. And others. He paused. Wanted power. Amara felt a cold feeling spread through her chest. And my mother? She asked. Daniel's eyes softened. Your mother was one of the most brilliant members they ever had. Amara stared at him in disbelief. My mother? Yes. Daniel nodded again. She created something the others desperately wanted. Amara leaned forward slightly. What? Daniel opened his mouth to answer, but before he could speak, a loud sound came from outside, the sound of a car engine stopping suddenly near the house. All three of them froze. Mama Nima quickly walked to the window, looked outside. Her face turned pale. They found us, she whispered. Amara's heart raced. Who? Mama Nima turned back toward them. There's more than one car. Daniel immediately stood up. How many? Three. Mama Nima replied. That's too many. Amara felt panic rising inside her. What's happening? Daniel looked straight at her. The people who want your mother's secret. Outside, the sound of car doors opening echoed through the quiet night. Heavy footsteps began approaching the house. Mama Nima grabbed Amara's arm tightly. You need to hide. Amara's voice shook. Hide from who? Daniel looked toward the door. His voice was calm but urgent. From the people who believe you are the key to finding what your mother left behind. The footsteps stopped right outside the house. Then someone knocked on the door. Slow, heavy, deliberate. Daniel whispered one sentence. If they see you. The knock on the door. Everything changed. The small house like a warning. Once, twice, then silence. Amara stood in the middle of the room, her breathing shallow, her heart pounding so loudly it felt like everyone could hear it. Outside, the night no longer felt calm. It felt dangerous. Open the door. The voice came again, cold, controlled, and unmistakable. Lydia's father. Amara's fingers slowly curled into her palm. Why would Lydia's father come here? Mama Nima tightened her grip on Amara's arm. Go, she whispered urgently. Now. Daniel stepped closer, lowering his voice. There's a back room. Is there another exit? Mama Nima nodded quickly. Yes. Behind the kitchen. Daniel turned to Amara. You need to move quietly. Do not make a sound. Another knock hit the door, this time harder. Nima, the voice outside called again. We know she's inside. Amara's stomach dropped. They know. Mama Nima quickly pushed Amara toward the small hallway. Go to the back room. Stay there until I come for you. Amara hesitated, but no arguments, Mama Nima said firmly. Daniel added, trust her. Reluctantly, Amara turned and moved quickly but quietly down the narrow hallway. The house suddenly felt smaller than ever before. Each step she took felt louder, closer to danger. Behind her, she could hear the front door open. Mama Nima had let them in. Amara slipped into the back room and gently closed the door, leaving it slightly open so she could hear. Her hands trembled as she clutched the wooden box tightly against her chest. In the main room, heavy footsteps entered. More than one person, at least three. The air inside the house shifted instantly. Good evening, Nima, Lydia's father said calmly. His tone was polite, but something underneath it felt threatening. Mama Nima's voice was steady. You shouldn't be here at this hour. A small pause, then Lydia's father chuckled softly, and yet the voice spoke. Here we are. Sharper, where is the girl? Amara's heart skipped. She held her breath. Mama Nima didn't respond immediately. I don't know what you're talking about, she said finally. The chair scraped against the floor. Someone had sat down. You've always been a poor liar, Nima, Lydia's father replied. Amara carefully stepped closer to the door, trying to hear better. Then, a third voice. Familiar. Too familiar. You can stop pretending, the voice said casually. Amara's eyes widened. It was Lydia. She was there. Two. Amara's grip tightened around the wooden box. Lydia came here. Her chest felt tight. This was no longer just school drama. This was something much bigger. In the other room, Lydia continued speaking. We know Amara received the box. Amara froze. How do they know that? Mama Nima's voice remained calm. You're mistaken. Lydia sighed. No, we're not. A short silence followed. Then Lydia's tone changed slightly. More serious now. That box belonged to her mother. Amara felt her heart pound harder, and we know exactly what it contains. Daniel's voice suddenly cut in. That's enough. The room went quiet. Amara's eyes widened. Daniel is still there. Lydia's father spoke again, his tone shifting. Well, I didn't expect to see you here. Daniel didn't respond immediately. I could say the same about you. He finally said. There was tension in his voice now, clear and sharp. Lydia's father stood up. You should have stayed away, Daniel. Daniel replied calmly, and you should have stopped searching. A pause, then Lydia's father spoke again, slower this time. We are not leaving without the girl. Amara felt her breath catch. In the back room, her mind was racing. They want me, not the box, me. She looked down at the wooden box in her hands. What did my mother leave behind? Back in the main room, Mama Nima's voice cut through the tension. Softly. You will not touch her. You can't protect her forever. Then Lydia added something that made Amara's blood run cold. Besides, she already belongs to this. Amara frowned. Belongs? Daniel's voice turned serious again. She has nothing to do with your plans. Lydia's father responded immediately. Oh, she has everything to do with it. A heavy silence followed. Then, Lydia's father spoke the one sentence that changed everything. The key your mother created. Dot can only be activated by her blood. Amara felt like the world had stopped. Her body went still. Her thoughts froze. My blood. Her breathing became uneven. Suddenly, everything made sense, and nothing made sense at the same time. Her mother didn't just hide her. She protected her. From this. From them. Then something unexpected happened. A loud crash came from the main room. The chair fell. Voices raised. Daniel shouted, run. Mama Nima called out, Amara, go now. Amara didn't think. She moved, fast. She rushed through the back door into the darkness outside. The cool night air hit her face as she ran toward the narrow path behind the house. Her heart pounded wildly. Behind her, she could hear footsteps. They were coming. She ran fast. Brushed against her arms as she pushed through the bushes, called out behind her. Second, it was Lydia, closer than she expected. Stop running, Lydia said. Her voice wasn't angry. It was calm, too calm. You don't even know what you're running from. Amara turned slowly. Lydia stood a few meters away, alone, watching. The wind moved softly through the trees, but to Amara, everything sounded loud. Her breathing, her heartbeat, even the silence between words. She stood frozen on the narrow path behind her house, facing Lydia, alone. Lydia didn't look like the girl from school anymore. The confident, laughing girl surrounded by friends was gone. Now, her face was calm, serious, almost. Knowing, you don't even understand what's happening, do you? Lydia said quietly. Amara tightened her grip on the wooden box. Stay away from me, she said, her voice shaking slightly. Lydia sighed. I'm not here to hurt you. Amara frowned. Then why are you here? Lydia took another slow step forward. Because if I don't talk to you now. She paused. Thought my father will. Amara felt a chill run through her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Amara asked the question that had been building inside her. What did you mean? Lydia tilted her head slightly. When I said your mother didn't just hide you. Amara nodded. Lydia's eyes dropped briefly to the wooden box in Amara's hands. She hid your ability. Amara's heart skipped. My ability? Lydia nodded slowly. Yes. Amara shook her head. That doesn't make any sense. Lydia gave a small, almost sad smile. It didn't make sense to me either. The first time I heard about you. Amara's voice grew stronger. Stop speaking in riddles. Just tell me the truth. Lydia studied her for a moment. Then she spoke. Your mother wasn't just a member of the Astric Circle. Amara stayed silent, listening. She was the only one who successfully completed something called the key project. Amara's grip tightened. The key. Lydia nodded. Yes. The same key my father mentioned. Amara's thoughts raced. What is it? Lydia hesitated, then she answered carefully. It's not a physical key. Amara frowned. Then what is it? Lydia looked directly into her eyes. Potential. Amara felt confused. Potential for what? Lydia stepped closer, for thinking faster. For seeing patterns others can't. For solving problems before they even fully exist. She paused, for creating things that can change everything. Amara stared at her. That sounds like intelligence. Lydia shook her head slightly. No, her voice dropped. It's beyond that. Amara's breathing slowed. She didn't fully understand, but something about what Lydia was saying felt real. Too real. My mother. Amara said slowly, that she created this? Lydia nodded. Yes. And she tested it. Amara's heart began to pound again. Tested it. On who? Lydia didn't answer immediately. She just looked at her, and in that silence, Amara understood. Her voice came out as a whisper. On me? Lydia nodded once. The world around Amara felt like it had shifted. No, she said quickly. That's not possible. Lydia's voice stayed calm. You were 5 years old. Amara shook her head. No, I would remember. Lydia took a small step closer. You wouldn't. Amara's mind was racing now. Her childhood, the missing memories, her grandmother always avoiding certain questions. The letter, the warning, why would she do that? Amara asked, her voice breaking slightly. Lydia's expression softened for the first time. Because she had no choice. A long silence fell between them. Then Amara asked something deeper. What does it do to me? Lydia hesitated again. Then she said quietly, it means your mind can become something extraordinary. Amara's heart beat faster, but it also means. She paused, that you are the only one who can activate the full system wooden box again. This? She asked. Lydia nodded. That's just the beginning. Suddenly, a branch snapped behind them. Both girls turned quickly. Footsteps, coming closer, fast. Lydia's expression changed immediately. They're here. Amara's chest tightened. Your father. Lydia nodded, and others. Amara took a step back. I'm not going with them. Lydia quickly said, I know. Amara looked at her, confused. You. No. Lydia stepped closer and lowered her voice. Listen to me carefully. Her tone was urgent now. You can't let them take you. Amara's heart raced. Why? Lydia looked directly into her eyes. Because if they do. She paused, that they will force you to unlock everything. The footsteps grew louder. Voices echoed faintly through the trees. They were close, very close. Amara felt panic rising. What do I do? Lydia glanced back toward the direction of the voices, then back at Amara. There's only one way. Amara leaned in slightly. What way? Lydia took a deep breath, then she said something unexpected. You have to open the box. Amara looked down at it. My mother said it would lead me to the truth. Lydia nodded. It will. Amara hesitated. But what if? Lydia cut her off. There's no time. The voices were now clear. Men shouting. Branches breaking. They were almost there. Lydia stepped back. Do it now. Amara's hands trembled as she slowly lifted the lid of the wooden box again. Inside, the folded letter. Nothing else. Her heart sank. Lydia said. Amara picked up the letter again. This time, she noticed something she hadn't before. A small marking on the inside of the box. The same symbol, but slightly different. Without thinking, Amara placed her hand over it. The moment her skin touched the symbol, something happened. A sudden sharp sensation ran through her fingers, like a pulse, like energy. Her breath caught. The world around her seemed to slow. The sounds of the forest faded. Her thoughts became clearer, faster, sharper. Images flashed through her mind. Numbers, designs, ideas she had never seen before. Connections forming instantly. Amara gasped and pulled her hand back. What? Was that? Lydia stared at her, not surprised, but serious. That, she said quietly, is only the beginning. Bright beams cut through the darkness, blinding and sharp. Amara instinctively raised her arm to shield her eyes, her heart pounding wildly in her chest. Voices echoed around them. Don't move. Stay where you are. Footsteps surrounded them from all sides. They were trapped. Amara's breathing became fast and uneven. Her mind screamed run. But her body refused to move. There were too many of them. At least 5 men stepped forward from the shadows, all dressed in dark clothing, and behind them, Lydia's father, calm, composed, watching. Well, he said slowly, stepping into the light. It seems we arrived just in time. Amara felt fear crawl up her spine. But something else was happening too, something new, her thoughts felt. Different, sharper, faster, like everything around her had slowed down just enough for her to notice details she would have missed before, the position of each person, the distance between them, the direction of the wind, the narrow gaps between the trees. Her grip tightened on the wooden box. This is because of what just happened. Lydia's father's eyes shifted toward the box in Amara's hands, then back to her face, and slowly, he smiled. You've activated it. Amara's chest rose and fell quickly. She didn't respond, didn't know how to. One of the men stepped forward. Sir, we should take her now. Lydia's father raised a hand slightly. Careful, he said. She's more valuable than you think. Amara's mind raced. Think. For the first time, she didn't feel completely helpless. Her thoughts began connecting quickly. Too quickly. 5 men. 1 behind Lydia. 2 on the left. 1 near the path entrance. Her grandmother's house. 30 steps behind. Back path. Narrower. Harder to follow. Her breathing slowed slightly. Not because she was calm, but because her mind was working faster than her fear. Amara, Lydia's father said. His tone softened slightly. Amara looked at him, her eyes sharp now. You don't even know what you have yet. Amara swallowed. And you do? She asked quietly. He smiled faintly. Yes. A pause, then he added, and I can help you unlock it. Amara shook her head slowly. No, the man's smile didn't disappear. Your mother created something powerful. He took a step closer, and you are the only one who can finish it. Amara's heart pounded again. But I won't help you, she said. The air grew tense. Then Lydia's father sighed. That's unfortunate. He turned slightly. Take her. Everything happened fast. The men moved forward. Now. Lydia suddenly shouted. Amara didn't hesitate. Something inside her clicked. Her mind calculated instantly. Left side. 2 men. Slower. Right side. Closer, but distracted. Front. Blocked. Back. Open for 2 seconds. She ran. Her feet hit the ground hard as she dashed toward the narrow space between 2 trees. Voices shouted behind her. Stop her. Branches scratched against her arms as she pushed through. Her heart pounded loudly, but her thoughts stayed sharp. Turn left in 3 steps. Drop low. Branch ahead. Jump the rock. She followed her own thoughts without questioning. And somehow, it worked. Behind her, she heard someone fall. Another cursed loudly. They were losing her. But then, a hand grabbed her arm. Hard, Amara gasped as she was pulled back. One of the men had caught her. She struggled, panic rising again. Let me go. The man tightened his grip. You're not going anywhere. For a moment, fear took over. Her thoughts scattered. Her breathing quickened. Then, that sharp feeling returned. The same one from before. Her mind snapped back into focus. His grip is strong. But his balance is off. Right foot slightly behind. Weight uneven. Without thinking, Amara twisted her body sharply and stepped sideways. The man lost balance for a split second. Free just pushed him. He stumbled backward and fell. Amara didn't stop. She ran. Faster than before. Behind her, Lydia's father watched silently. Not angry. Not surprised. Just observing. She's learning already, he said quietly. Lydia stood beside him, her expression unreadable. Amara kept running until the voices faded, until the lights disappeared, until the forest became quiet again. Finally, she stopped, breathing heavily, alone. Her hands trembled as she looked down at the wooden box. What is happening to me? She whispered, From behind her, a voice answered, "You're waking up." Amara spun around. Daniel stepped out from the shadows. Relief flooded her face. "You're alive." Daniel nodded. "I followed from a distance." He looked at her carefully. "And I saw what you did." Amara shook her head slightly. "I don't understand it." Daniel stepped closer. "You don't need to understand it yet." He paused. "You just need to survive it." Amara swallowed. "They're going to keep coming, aren't they?" Daniel didn't hesitate. "Yes." A silence fell between them. Then Amara asked the question that had been building inside her. "What do we do now?" Daniel's expression grew serious. "We leave Kijani." Amara's heart dropped. "Leave?" Daniel nodded. "Tonight." Amara looked back in the direction of her home. Her grandmother, everything she knew. "I can't just leave," she said. Daniel's voice softened. "If you stay." He paused. "That they will take you." Amara's chest tightened. Behind them, far in the distance, the sound of engines started again. They were still again. Too quiet, the kind of silence that didn't feel peaceful. But heavy, like something was waiting. Amara stood still, her chest rising and falling as she tried to steady her breathing. Daniel's words echoed in her mind. "We leave Kijani. Tonight." She turned slowly, looking in the direction of her home. Even from a distance, she could picture it clearly. The small house, the old wooden table, Mama Nima sitting outside in the evenings. "I can't just leave her," Amara said, her voice low but firm. Daniel watched her carefully. "You don't have much time." "I don't care," Amara replied quickly. "I'm not leaving without my grandmother." Daniel hesitated. Then nodded once. "Then we go back. But we move carefully." Far in the distance, faint lights moved through the trees. Searching, Amara tightened her grip on the wooden box. "Let's go." They moved quickly but quietly through the forest path. Every sound made Amara's heart jump. Every shadow felt like it was watching. As they got closer to the house, Daniel raised his hand slightly. "Stop." Amara froze. "What is it?" She whispered. Daniel pointed ahead. Through the trees, the house came into view. But something was wrong. There were lights. Too many. Amara's stomach dropped. No, 2 cars stood outside the house. Their headlights still on. Men moved around the yard. Searching, Amara felt panic rise. "They're already there." Daniel's expression tightened. "We're too late." Amara shook her head. "No, she's inside." She started moving forward. Daniel grabbed her arm. "Wait." But Amara pulled free. "I'm not leaving her." She moved closer, staying low, her heart pounding louder with every step. The closer she got, the clearer the voices became. Dot search everywhere. She couldn't have gone far. Amara's chest tightened. Then, a voice she recognized. Amara. Her breath caught near the doorway, being held by one of the men. She wasn't hurt, but she wasn't free either. Amara felt anger rise inside her. Hot, sharp. Daniel moved beside her quietly. "This is exactly what they wanted," he whispered. "They knew you'd come back." Amara clenched her fists. "I can't just watch this." In the yard, Lydia's father stood calmly, watching everything. "Bring her forward," he said. The man holding Mama Nima pushed her slightly. Mama Nima lifted her head and spoke loudly. "Amara. Don't come out." The yard fell silent for a moment. Then Lydia's father smiled faintly. "She's here," he said. Amara's heart pounded. "They know." Daniel's voice dropped. "If you step out now, they take you." Amara's breathing became uneven. Her mind started racing again. Fast, sharp, for men outside. One holding Mama Nima. 2 near the car. 1 near the door. Lydia's father. Center. Her thoughts moved quickly. Faster than fear. Distraction needed. Light source. Headlights. Weak point. Left side. Amara's eyes locked onto the cars. Then back to Daniel. "I need you to trust me," she whispered. Daniel frowned slightly. "What are you planning?" Amara didn't answer. Instead, she moved, fast. She grabbed a small stone from the ground and threw it hard toward one of the car headlights. Crack. The glass shattered. The light flickered and died. "Hey!" One of the men turned immediately. Amara didn't stop. She threw another stone. Second light. Gone. The yard fell into partial darkness. Confusion spread instantly. Watch the perimeter. Find her. In that moment of chaos, Amara ran forward. Her heart pounded wildly as she rushed toward her grandmother, Mama Nima. The man holding her turned. Too late. Amara used all her strength to push him hard. He stumbled backward. Run. She shouted. Mama Nima didn't hesitate. Daniel rushed forward, pulling both of them back toward the trees. Lydia's father shouted. Footsteps exploded behind them. They ran, all three of them, into the darkness. Branches snapped. Voices shouted. Engines roared again. But this time, they didn't stop. They ran until the house disappeared, until the village lights were gone, until Kijani became nothing but a memory behind them. Finally, they stopped near the edge of the main road. Amara bent forward slightly, trying to catch her breath. Mama Nima placed a hand on her shoulder. You shouldn't have come back, she said softly. Amara shook her head. I wasn't leaving you. Daniel looked down the empty road. We don't have time. A distant pair of headlights appeared. Approaching, Amara's chest tightened. Is that them? Daniel shook his head slightly. No, he stepped forward. That's our way out. The vehicle slowed as it approached. An old car, worn, but running. It stopped in front of them. The driver's window rolled down slowly. A woman sat inside, calm, observant. She looked directly at Amara, then at Daniel. You're late, she said. Amara frowned. Who is she? Daniel opened the door. She's someone your mother trusted. Amara hesitated, then helped Mama Nima into the car. She got in last. The door shut. The engine started again. As the car pulled away, Amara looked back one last time. The road to Kijani disappeared into the darkness. Everything she had ever known, the dark road, its headlights cutting through the silence of the night. Inside, no one spoke for a while. Only the sound of the engine filled the space. Amara sat in the back seat, the wooden box resting tightly in her hands. Mama Nima sat beside her, quiet but alert. Daniel was in the front, and the woman driving. She hadn't taken her eyes off the road. Amara studied her carefully. She looked calm, too calm, like someone who had done this many times before. Finally, Amara spoke. Who are you? The woman didn't answer immediately. She adjusted her grip on the steering wheel slightly. Then she said, my name is Aisha Injeri. Amara waited, but Aisha didn't say anything more. Daniel glanced back briefly. She worked with your mother, he said. Amara's heart skipped. You knew my mother too. Aisha nodded slightly. Yes. Amara leaned forward a bit. Then tell me the truth. Her voice was steady now. No more secrets. Aisha exhaled slowly. The truth is not something you hear once and understand, she said. It's something that reveals itself. Piece by piece. Amara frowned. That's not an answer. Aisha's eyes met hers briefly through the mirror. It's the only one you're ready for. Silence filled the car again. Outside, the road stretched endlessly ahead. The village was gone now, replaced by open land and darkness. After a few minutes, Mama Nima spoke softly. Where are we going? Aisha answered without hesitation. To Nairobi. Amara blinked. The city. Daniel nodded. There's something there your mother left behind. Amara tightened her grip on the box. You said that before. Daniel turned slightly in his seat, and I meant it. Aisha added quietly, she knew this day might come. Amara's chest tightened, so she planned all this. Aisha didn't respond directly. Instead, she asked, when you touched the symbol. Amara hesitated, answered slowly, everything felt fast. She looked down at her hands, like I could see things more clearly. Aisha nodded. That's stage one. Amara's head snapped up. Stage one. Daniel's expression grew serious. The key your mother created isn't something that activates all at once. Aisha continued. It unlocks your mind in levels. Amara's heart began to race again. How many levels? Aisha paused, then answered quietly. 3. Amara swallowed. And what happens at the final level? Aisha's grip on the wheel tightened slightly. You don't want to rush to that. That answer didn't comfort Amara, not at all. The car continued moving, faster now. Then, Amara noticed something. We're not on the main road anymore, she said. Daniel glanced outside. She's right. Aisha didn't slow down. We're not going directly to the city. Amara frowned. Why? Aisha's voice lowered slightly. Because if we go there now, they'll be waiting. Amara's chest tightened. So where are we going? Aisha turned the wheel sharply. The car moved onto a narrow, hidden road surrounded by tall trees, to a place your mother trusted more than anywhere else. The path grew rougher, darker. Finally, after several minutes, the car slowed. Ahead, a structure appeared through the trees, old, hidden. Almost forgotten, a small building made of concrete and glass, partially covered by overgrown plants. Amara leaned forward slightly. What is this place? Aisha stopped the car. The engine went silent. Then she said, this is where everything began. A chill ran through Amara's body. They stepped out of the car. The air felt different here. Still, heavy. Daniel walked toward the building. It's been years, he muttered. Mama Nima stayed close to Amara. Aisha moved to the front door. She paused, then looked at Amara. You need to open it. Amara blinked. Why? Because it won't respond to anyone else. Amara's heart began to pound again. Slowly, she walked toward the door. There was no handle, no lock, just a smooth surface, with a familiar carving. The same symbol, circle, star. Amara lifted her hand slowly. Her fingers trembled slightly. Then, she placed her palm against the symbol. For a moment, nothing happened. Then suddenly, a soft glow spread across the surface. A low hum filled the air. Amara gasped slightly as that same sharp sensation ran through her again. Stronger this time, inside her mind, something shifted. More images, more patterns, more understanding. Then, click. The door unlocked. It slowly opened. Darkness waited inside. Aisha stepped forward slightly. Go on. Amara hesitated, then took a step inside. Lights flickered on automatically. The room revealed itself. Screens, tables, old equipment, and in the center, a large glass table, with something resting on top of it. Amara stepped closer. Her breath caught. It was a device, small, sleek, different from anything she had ever seen. What is that? She whispered. Aisha's voice came from behind her. That. She paused. That is the core of your mother's work. Amara stared at it, her heart racing again. Is that? Split second, Lydia smiled. Not a friendly smile, but the kind of smile someone gives when they know a secret. That evening, Amara walked home slowly as the sun disappeared behind usuals. When she reached the small house near the river, Mama Nima was sitting outside, sorting beans into a wooden bowl. You're late today, her grandmother said gently. Amara sat down beside her without speaking. Mama Nima looked at her carefully. What happened at school? For a moment Amara stayed silent. Then she whispered, my idea. Someone took it. Mama Nima's hand stopped moving. Who? Amara looked down. Lydia. Her grandmother sighed softly, as if this news didn't surprise her. Then she stood up slowly and walked inside the house. Amara had never seen it before. Mama Nima placed it carefully on the table between them. Your mother asked me to give you this one day, she said quietly. Amara stared at the wrapped object. My mother? Mama Nima nodded, but I didn't think the day would come so soon. Amara slowly opened the cloth. Inside was a small wooden box, old, carved with strange symbols. Amara looked up. What is it? Mama Nima's eyes were serious. A secret your mother wanted you to discover. Amara carefully lifted the lid. Inside the box was a single folded paper. She opened it slowly, and the moment she read the first line, her entire world had grown quiet. The only sounds were the distant crickets and the gentle movement of the river behind Amara's small home. But inside the house, Amara's heart was racing. Her hands trembled slightly as she held the letter from the wooden box. The words on the first line echoed in her mind again and again. Amara, if you are reading this, you are not who you think you are. Amara slowly looked up at her grandmother, Mama Nima. What does this mean? Her grandmother didn't answer immediately. Instead, she sat down slowly across from her, her face calm but serious. Read the rest. she said softly. Amara swallowed and continued reading. My dear Amara, if this letter has reached you, it means the truth can no longer stay hidden. You have grown up believing you were just a girl from a small village, but your life was never meant to be ordinary. There are people in this world who would do anything to keep you from discovering who you truly are. That is why I had to hide you. One day you will understand everything. But for now, remember this, trust very few people. And never forget the symbol carved on the box. It will lead you to the truth. Your mother. Amara's mind felt like it was spinning. She slowly placed the letter on the table. What does this mean? She asked again, her voice quieter now. Mama Nima looked at the wooden box carefully. That symbol, Amara said, pointing to the carvings on the lid. Have you seen it before? Her grandmother nodded slowly. Yes. Amara leaned forward. Where? Mama Nima took a deep breath. In the city. Amara blinked in confusion. The city? Yes, her grandmother replied. Your mother came from there. Amara's heart skipped. All her life she had believed her parents were villagers like everyone else in Kijani, but
So we are finally done with the story. Let's make breakfast. I don't know if people eat this for breakfast. Yeah. But I'm eating this. We need some water. So let's see what it says. For 5 minutes. You cook it for 5 minutes. 400 ml. So we'll boil the water first. And wait for it to boil. almost. Oh, I wanted to put some music. I don't know if people eat this for breakfast, but I'm eating it for breakfast because I want to. I'll show you the results, not the process. Oh, well, I can show you. It's ready. .5 minutes. Let's say 2 minutes. first one and see if it's ready. So this is what I will do. I put excess water, then I'll drain the rest. Then we can now add our bumbu sauce. You put all of it. Then about the chili, you'll see if you want it or not. As for me, I want some. You just finally. Since it's mine, you just eat. Sometimes we're not angry, we're just hungry. Get me some good food and you'll be happy. Let's pray. Amen. It's hot and tasty. Actually, people are looking at me right now, but I don't care. We need some water. So my goal was to reach 60 minutes, but it's 70 minutes. So I've already reached my goal. Tomorrow I'll also come and record another video. Not a video about the story. It's very long. It has like 80 episodes. this is the first time I'm eating this for very a long time. It's because I heard that it tricks your stomach to think it's full. So I just remembered that. Don't know if I'll eat lunch. Hi Suri. Kama ndo unaingia, I was talking about a story. And I was talking about this. I heard that when you eat it, it tricks your stomach to think that you are full. This is the first time I'm eating it after 1 year. I stopped eating it when it was 2025. No, 2024. I'm recording using a back camera so I can't see the comments. So employed people are going to work. Employed people are going to work. Those people. When you started the live, there were a lot of cars here. So those are employed people. But us will be here creating the jobs. So I was still analyzing this food. It tastes good, yes, but I've been seeing a lot of AI videos saying that it tricks your stomach to think that it's full. That's the only problem, but everything else is, yeah. She doesn't want. Let's drink more water. So water is good for your health. Don't ask me why water is in a Coca-Cola bottle. Let me show you the view. Then we continue eating. So I think this is how I'll be eating. There. Something else. These things are good when they are hot. When they are cold, they taste so bad. So bad, trust me. Right now they are, you can say 25% hot. 25% hot. So if I don't finish it now, I might not finish them. How people laugh will tell you if they are rich or poor. Let's continue eating. This is what we have left. They said we should change our standing posture. It should be like this. I think now I've satisfied my cravings for this meat. How can they taste good only when they are hot? Hmm? That's not good. Okay, let me just not talk about it, but I'm speaking for myself. My opinion. Look at how it looks. So this account was initially my mom's account. Then she left it to me. Like I borrowed her. I borrowed borrowed her account. I'm the one using. Almost there. Let me act like I'm happy. I used to write loving my stories every day when I was in high school.